there, I'm back in my thinking chair. Oh, guess what? Yesterday was the craft together. So I organized just to get together at the local public library from 3 to 5 on the second Saturday of each month. And you can bring any craft. It doesn't have to be knitting. It doesn't even have to be yarn related. Yesterday we had knitting and cross stitch, and we have someone who comes and she colors. We've had painting, we've had coloring, we've had some sewing. So any craft, you can bring any craft, and you never know who's going to show up, and you never know what kind of discussions will happen at Craft Together. So yesterday I don't cook well. I'm not a good cook. I don't even like it. I just like to eat, right? I've said that before. You've probably heard me say that before. Anyway, yesterday I took my weaving. I took this, right? So this is all Fiber Junkie yarn, and they're 4-inch woven squares, and I'm supposed to be making it into a bag. I'm really not happy with it, but that's another story for another time. I wanted to tell you that I was so excited about making a meatloaf, right? I had this vision of what a meatloaf should be like, and I was explaining to Amy that I was making this meatloaf, and I was telling her about it, right? I said, I'm gonna just put the meat together with an egg, and then I'm gonna, fold it like this, and put it in the oven. I'm gonna season it right, and I'm gonna put it in the oven. And then my friend Barry was like, are you gonna put something in it? I'm like, no, it's a meatloaf. You just put it you shape it, and you put it in the oven, and you cook it. It's the meat, it's a loaf of meat. And he was like, are you gonna put any celery or onion or green peppers? I'm like, no, it's a meatloaf. You don't need nothing in it. It's a loaf of meat. I was gonna use turkey, by the way, ground turkey, not beef. Anyway, so he's like, okay, well, are you gonna use like a tomato paste or tomato sauce? No, it's a meatloaf. You put the meat in the shape, and you put it in the oven, and you cook it. It's a meatloaf, right? And he was like, no, that's not a meatloaf. That is a big hamburger. It's a big hamburger. And I was like, whatever, you're just crazy. I know what a meatloaf is, right? So then I come to the Craft Together, and I tell Amy about it, and she's laughing so hard, she's in tears, because she was like, no, Rania, that is not that is not a meatloaf. He is correct. That is a big hamburger. Well, I didn't know. Why does it have to have stuff in it to be a meatloaf? To me, as long as it's shaped like a little loaf, you know how it's all round and stuff? You just pat it into the shape, and it's a meatloaf. Anyway, she was in tears because, well, she also knows that I'm very not good in the kitchen, right? I like to eat, but I do not like to cook. I don't enjoy it, and my mind doesn't work in like a cooking fashion where stuff just makes sense, obviously, because evidently that is not a meatloaf. But you never know what's going to be discussed at the Craft Together while we're crafting. So if you were in Little Rock, Central Arkansas, you should come, because shenanigans are